Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon tank, and the fish we're looking at now is my Ctenopoma acutirostre, also known as a spotted African leaf fish, although it is not truly a leaf fish. It's actually more closely related to a gourami. In fact, one of its common names is a leopard gourami, though technically it is not a gourami, if that's not confusing enough for you. At any rate, this isn't the subject of this video at all. He just happened to be out front and center creeping out of the bushes like that, and he is such a cool fish. I wanted to get a little bit of video of him up close before we had a look at the highlight of this video, and that's going to be my new fish. One of them is down this end of the tank, so we'll start by having a look at her. That is a albino millennium rainbow fish, and this is one of the females that I got. I got 7 of them, and I tried to get the biggest ones that were in the tank, and that resulted in me getting 4 females and 3 males. So I kind of wish I'd gotten a little higher male to female ratio, but that was all that was available. So that's what we had to deal with. This here is one of the males, and you can see how much more vibrant orange it is. And then the other 5 are hiding back there in the bushes. There's been a couple times now that I've come in and looked around and I could only count 6. I couldn't find that 7th one for the life of me, and I figured my Ctenopoma had a nice snack, but then I would find it. So I'm not too worried about the Ctenopoma at this point. I have seen these fish actually hover right in front and above the mouth. Like literally the fins of the rainbow fish were touching the upper lip of the Ctenopoma. All it would have had to do was just open its mouth and there would have been no more rainbow fish. And, you know, I'm standing there holding my breath waiting to see what happens, and the Ctenopoma would swim away like something was, you know, tickling its nose or something and bothering it, and it just would swim away. So I've seen that happen or something similar, you know, very, very easy opportunity for the Ctenopoma to just almost accidentally eat one of these fish, and it's totally ignored them. So fortunately, because it's so well fed, it seems to be leaving them alone. He's going back down to hiding behind the bushes there. It's amazing how hard he can be to spot when he wants to hide. You can just about make him out. That little movement you can see right there underneath the edge of that rock is him. So it was kind of a little bit pertinent to start the video by looking at him, because he was sort of a deciding factor into what kind of fish I could get in this tank. And I really tried to get some larger sized rainbows, and by the standards of what you see in a pet store, these were actually fairly large compared to a lot of the other rainbows. It wasn't until I got them home that I realized they're not actually large at all. And again, my Ctenopoma could have just munched them up at any time he wanted. Fortunately, he just hasn't wanted to. So these are my current rainbow fish that I've got in the tank, and those are big enough that they can't be eaten by said Ctenopoma. So I'm not really sure what to expect out of these millennium albinos. I got to thinking about this after I brought them home. An albino doesn't mean it doesn't have any color at all. They're not just white. It just means they don't have additional pigmentation. So we're going to see whatever natural color lies underneath. But is that color going to change or enhance or anything if they go into spawning condition? Or is this just what they're going to look like? You know, my experience with rainbow fish is that they go from looking pretty amazing when they're young, and then suddenly they reach maturity, and you can't believe they're the same fish. It looks like somebody snuck in the middle of the night and installed batteries in them or something. They just pop all of a sudden. And if that's what's going to happen with these, which I'm really, really hoping it is, these are just going to be absolutely incredible once they start maturing. So I'm probably going to get in here. I've been thinking about getting in here and trimming back this tiger lotus. But now that I can see how much they like hiding in it, I may just sort of leave it in there and let it grow thick for a little while, just to give them some cover until they can get a little more size on them and they can get a little more accustomed to being in the tank, a little more comfortable with this being their, permanent habitation at this point. So there you go, everybody. That's the first official public look. I have done some video of these on my Patreon page. You can check that out if you're interested. I do a little bit of the behind-the-scenes fish stuff, and you get a first look at new fish and things like that. But I also do a lot of outdoors type videos and little odds and ends over on Patreon. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. But there you go. That is the last big reveal that I've got to make. I was kind of holding off on showing off the new fish that was in my office tank. I won't mention what it was if you haven't seen that video yet. I did post a video yesterday about a new fish in my office tank, and I was hoping that was going to be a little bit of surprise for everybody. I'd kind of actually talked down about not getting something like that, and then it just kind of happened that I got something like that. So I'm kind of excited about watching that one grow up, and I'm really excited about watching these grow up. So there you go. Like I said, that's my new additions to my 125, and they're definitely sticking with the sort of earth tone themes. You know, I've got the rainbow shark over there that's got the dark colors, the sort of grays and the reds, and we've got the browns and the tans and the oranges and the reds. So all of these nice sort of earth tone color fish are going to fit in. I do have this oddball. That's an Australian rainbow fish, and a viewer sent me some fish, and a lot of them unfortunately did not make it. And this one came in here with several other rainbow fish, but they all died. And so now I'm stuck with just one Australian rainbow fish. I do have a little school of them over in my 40 breeder that are much smaller than this one, but it is the same species of fish. So at some point, if I really feel up to it, I can get in the net, get in there with a net and go ahead and get that one lone Australian rainbow fish out and put it in the other tank. But also in my experience, and just by watching this fish by itself, they school just fine with the other rainbow fish. All of these sort of intermingle. I've got my new, the albino millenniums. They seem to hang out with my Marcy rainbow fish just fine. In fact, you can see this one's spending more time down here with the Marcy rainbow fish than it is down at the other end with its own species. And I also see that Australian rainbow fish doing exactly the same thing. I'm even down to one final lonely female Congo tetra, and she likewise will sort of school with the rainbow fish since they're the closest thing she's got to her species in the tank. So maybe someday we'll get more Congo tetras in here, but I think for now I'm going to let the Congos sort of die off and go away. She's the last of my Congos that have been in here for years and years, and I think now I'm going to work on sort of building up the rainbow fish population. I've even kind of considered the Bosmani, as much as I love them. I don't know if I can get another school of 5 more rainbow fish with all the rainbow fish I've already gotten here, but adding a few more, being how they all school together, as I was just explaining, I don't see why there'd be any harm in getting a few more and just having a big mishmash, school of rainbow fish in here. I think that would be pretty awesome looking. This is a really good looking tank. I really enjoy looking at it, and having all that color and vibrancy swimming around, I think would be really cool. Anyway, that's just a thought, something, rolling around in my head. I've obviously just got these added to the tank, so let's let these settle in and grow up and see what they're going to look like and how big they're going to get and all that before I worry about adding anything new. So make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss anything I got coming up. Hopefully it's going to be some good stuff here in the near future. You don't want to miss watching these grow up, and of course you don't want to miss watching my new fish in my office tank grow up. And as I said, if you're subscribed, you won't miss any of that. And I'll leave you here in my 125 with the last look at my Ctenopoma. I'll say thanks again. I'll see you real soon in the next one.